Today we're reading Acts 12, verses 1 through 17. Now about that time, Herod the king stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church, and he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword. And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread. And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison, and delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people. Peter therefore was kept in prison, but prayer was made without ceasing of the church unto God for him. And when Herod would have brought him forth, the same night Peter was sleeping between 2 soldiers, bound with 2 chains, and the keepers before the door kept the prison. And behold, the angel of the Lord came upon him, and a light shined in the prison. And he smote Peter on the side, and raised him up, saying, Arise up quickly. And his chains fell off from his hands. And the angel said unto him, Gird thyself, and bind on thy sandals. And so he did. And he saith unto him, Cast thy garment about thee, and follow me. And he went out and followed him, and wist not that it was true which was done by the angel, but thought he was a vision. When they were past the first and the second ward, they came unto the iron gate that leadeth unto the city, which opened to them of his own accord. And they went out and passed on through one street, and forthwith the angel departed from him. And when Peter was come to himself, he said, Now I know of a surety that the Lord hath sent his angel, and hath delivered me out of the hand of Herod, and from all the expectation of the people of the Jews. And when he had considered the thing, he came to the house of Mary, the mother of John, whose surname was Mark, where many were gathered together praying. And as Peter knocked at the door of the gate, a damsel came to hearken, named Rhoda. And when she knew Peter's voice, she opened not the gate for gladness, but ran in and told how Peter stood before the gate. And they said unto her, Thou art mad. But she constantly affirmed that it was even so. Then said they, It is his angel. But Peter continued knocking, and when they had opened the door and saw him, they were astonished. But he, beckoning unto them with the hand to hold their peace, declared unto them how the Lord had brought him out of the prison. And he said, Go, show these things unto James, and to the brethren. He departed and went into another place. In chapter 12, we see Herod beginning to persecute the Christians. The Herod being referred to here is Herod Agrippa. He's the grandson of Herod the Great, who, as you may remember, tried to kill Jesus as a child when the Magi came asking about the star they had seen. Violence is apparently a family trait in this case. First he kills James, which is John's brother. When it says that it pleased the Jews, it's referring to the religious leaders there. They were quite happy to have Herod put some of the Christians to death, especially their leaders. So Herod, ever the politician and wanting to please his political allies, the Jewish religious rulers, arrested Peter and plans to kill him as well. But God had other plans. Also notice in verse 5 that it points out that the church, all the believers in the area, were constantly praying for Peter's safety. They know Herod intends to kill him, so they're praying. Also notice that verse 6 tells us that this event happened the night before Herod was going to bring Peter to him. Peter's execution is now just hours away. Let us keep that in mind when we've been praying for something and haven't seen God respond. He has his own timing, and his expectation of us is simply to keep praying and trust him. And boy, does God deliver him in an amazing way. He sends an angel into the prison to wake him up and walk him out the front door. It's all so surreal that Peter assumes it's a vision. That is, until the angel leaves and Peter realizes he is, in fact, out in the street. Do you have a situation that you're waiting for God to resolve? Keep praying. David wrote this in Psalm 27. I had fainted unless I had believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. We already know that God wants what's best for us. He gives us good gifts. He promises to never leave us or forsake us. Hold fast to what you already know of the goodness of God, and then wait. It's hard to do. We all struggle with waiting, but God is at work. Wait for it. And notice what happens when Peter arrives at the home of John Mark's mother, where several of the believers are gathered together to pray. A young girl goes to the gate to answer Peter's knocking, and she recognizes Peter's voice, and she runs back to tell everyone that he's there. She's so excited that she forgets to let him in. Have you ever been surprised when God answered a prayer? We can pray with faith, but sometimes God still surprises us in how he works. Afterwards, we realize that we shouldn't have been so surprised. After all, it is the God who created the universe that we're asking for help. but we still struggle at times with our faith. Even those that she went back to tell about Peter didn't believe her. They were shocked at God answering prayer as well. Let's keep praying about things God has put on our heart, and then let us not be surprised when He answers.